pressure's very much on Everton.
We're in great form, so we can relax. We know we're safe. We can just play freely.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Welcome to the pre-match Pint of London Pride. We're down here at the Fullers Brewery and Tap Room in Chiswick. Brentford fans, I say it every week, get yourselves down here with 10% off. And you can also get 10% off online with the code pre-match pint. I've popped out for a drink with my friends Marcus, Gayle, Natalie Sawyer. Hello. And as the season ends, and I tell you what, if the players aren't on the beach, this man is definitely on the beach already. Rhys Weston, how are you all? And thanks for joining me.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. A few toasts today. I always like to do a toast. Happy birthday, Vita, this week. And also, of course, toasting to officially, mathematically now, going to be playing Premier League football again next year. So a toast to that. I know Jamie Allen cracked a few open last night as soon as that game finished. But look, looking at that, I know that when we got promoted, it was thrive, not survive, and we weren't going to be here as tourists. But I think in life sometimes you've got to take a step back, haven't you, and appreciate what you have achieved. And Rhys, this is a hell of an achievement, isn't it?
It's absolutely incredible. And you're right, I think all the external noise was about thrive and survive, but I think for us as fans, survival was key, wasn't it? And to do it in the way we've done it, it speaks volumes for what the club is and what they are and what they stand for. Because, in terms of budget, we're small fry. You look at the teams in and around us at the moment. It's a huge achievement by everyone involved, and it's just nice to enjoy the last couple of games with the pressure being off. Obviously, still points to play for, but mathematically safe with 2 games to go is incredible.
Marcus, we joked about it and we said, look, we are safe with 2 games to go. Rhys is on the beach now, but the players won't be, will they?
No, of course not. There's still places to play for. We have now that safety of we're going to be in the Premier League for next season, and it's now trying to impress the manager, the head coach for next season. Can he rely on you? Can you impress him? But it's amazing this year in terms of how we've had to deal with all the pressures on and off the field. It's been like a first day at school every week, it seems.
And that's for us and staff as well. It's not just the players and stuff like you guys in the office and stuff like that. I think what you said there as well is really interesting about kind of the budgets. And I know this gets thrown around a lot, but I think I saw the other day apparently our wages come to half of Ronaldo's on his own almost a year. Wow. I mean, I know we don't like to say that. I don't know. It is such a remarkable feat, isn't it, Natalie?
Of course, and most people would have started the season thinking finish 17th, so that's a blessing, that's amazing, and it feels as though we're going to finish much stronger than that. And you can come out with all the things of punching above our weight, etc., etc. But actually, the end to this season has been such a good, strong end that I'm there thinking, do you know what? We fully justify being where we are. We fully justify our spot in the second season in the Premier League, and I just can't wait for what next season brings. But yeah, it's been an absolute dream. I can't actually believe the season's ending. In a way, it's finished so quickly. It's steamrolled. Yeah. But I've loved every minute of it, I must say.
Look, 2 games to go to finish as high up as we can, because obviously now it's different. Every position you go is worth more money, of course. And there is a lot to celebrate, and we've actually got a celebration evening. Guys, you may have seen a bit of communications going out for the Player of the Year. It's a little bit different this year. Yeah. Natalie, tell us a little bit more about what's going on, because obviously you'll be hosting it.
Well, co-hosting.
I wasn't on the website. I wasn't on the link, was
Stu
I?
is very much involved.
Wasn't in the article, so I don't know if I am anymore.
If anything, you're getting some of the juicier interviews. Although I think it's the award winners, so that's pretty special in itself. But you're having proper sit-down interviews, aren't you? I know you're going to hopefully speak to Christian Eriksen and David Raya, for example. Thomas Frank, you're going to have a sit-down with Pontus Jansson. But nice, lengthy discussions. And the last 2 that I just mentioned, hopefully the fans can send in questions on the night.
Exactly.
So it's a very interactive evening. It's less traditional, and just a new way of thinking, which is all about Brentford really, a new way of thinking going forward in the Premier League, and a night that everyone can enjoy because it is a celebration.
Exactly, yeah.
And you are involved,
and
so
I am
that's
involved.
the main thing.
Now people aren't going to register their interest, but you can register your interest on the website. Make sure you do. It's been powered by Blue Jeans, so big thanks to our partners there, and Sky Sports will be hosting the night with us. Lots to celebrate last weekend as well. Free From Desire was back out. Hey Jude. Peter Gillan was dancing. 3-0 win against Southampton. Marcus, I mean, our most convincing win, would you say? It seemed pretty routine, weirdly, and
it was emphatic for sure. Performance-wise, I'm sure we've played far better, but it was just great to bounce back from the previous game, just to show the fans that we mean business. It was important to show that sort of quality and the variety of goal scorers as well.
Yeah, Rhys, what impressed you about the day?
I just think it was another very well-rounded performance. I thought, for me, West Ham at home was kind of the one in terms of all-round performance, and again, home against Tottenham, the 0-0, showing our credentials as a proper team. But I had no anxiety going into Saturday, in spite of what happened against United prior to that. I think you just have this belief now in this group of players that they're always going to show up. And Southampton, let's be honest, they've been in wretched form, but they would have looked at us as an opportunity to arrest the slide a little bit. But we didn't give them an opportunity, and it was a great performance. And I think Chris Hadger for me was the one that kind of stood out in that fixture. Great goal for someone as tall and languid as he is. Such deft touches, and it was great. You can see the emotion pouring out of him at the end when he was doing his post-match interview around the goal. But again, listen, the guys gave a great account of themselves. The sun was shining, and it just cemented our credentials as a proper team again.
I want to speak about Chris Hadger. We've not spoke about him really here this season. For a first season in the Premier League, Natalie, and I don't know, he just feels like he's been a breath of fresh air. And also, I'm lucky enough to see him again at the training ground. He's so funny around the training ground. He's clearly integrated himself massively into the group. But also playing-wise, he's been absolutely unbelievable. I've never known such a tall centre-half to be so good going forward as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I was going to say, because when he first started, I felt like he was just a typical defender. Didn't tend to go forward as much, but towards the end of the season, you just see that he wants to drive forward. He wants to be involved in that action at the other end of the pitch, and maybe that's down to the fact that when he first started, he was number 10? Yeah. So this is a player that knows what it actually is like to play with the ball at your feet and try and score goals. And we're now it's paying dividends, because it's that goal that he scored was tremendous, so well worked, and to be able to dance through the Southampton defence like he did, I thought was fantastic. And you forget how old he is. I mean, he's still really young. So this is a guy that's just going to, you hope, is just going to get better and better. And I love that sort of partnership, that bromance, I think it is, with Pontus Jansson. You can tell that they just adore each other, the way they celebrated together with that first goal for Christopher. So, I think he's been absolutely brilliant. And, whether or not he wins the supporters player of the season, we'll wait to see, but he certainly should be up there in their reckoning.
I don't know who's going to win that, to be honest. There's so many candidates that could win it. Marcus, I want to talk to you about, obviously Christopher's come from Celtic, and you played at Rangers, of course, and how much do you think playing for a club like Celtic has prepared him for the Premier League and the intensity of the Premier League and everything that comes around it? Because everyone says playing for Rangers or Celtic is it's almost like its own microclimate. It's like it's his own little world compared to the rest of the league. So how much has that helped him going into this season?
It's dealing with different pressures. When you play for Rangers or Celtic, you're there to primarily win matches, and week in, week out. Here at Brentford, you're not expected to have that same sort of pressure, but it's a different pressure. Being the 50th club to be in the Premier League, that's a new pressure for him. And being so young as well, he's got the character to deal with that. He's enjoying himself, as we can see. He loves defending. It seems like he loves goal scoring as well with his celebration. I don't know how he didn't give himself a wedgie, how he landed, but I wouldn't have done that myself. But, he's prepared. The modern day players, they're prepared to be successful, whether it is north of the border or south down here.
And Rhys, when he first joined, I was like, right, he's a centre half. He's a centre. But the more I see him at right back, as a right back yourself, where do you think is his best position? Because now I'm going, I love him at right back.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I think if you ask Chris, he'd probably still say that centre back is his preference. Because again, I think in the Premier League especially, if you're composed in possession, then you can have an influence on attack anyway. But in terms of how he's performed at right back, especially in line with our form as well. He's so quick, deceivingly quick.
He reckons he's the quickest in the squad.
Wow, it's a big statement.
He reckons he is.
Well, they all think they are the quickest. Rico thinks he's the quickest. Brian thinks he's the quickest. He thinks he's the quickest.
I reckon. I would give him that. If you give him 50 metres, maybe over 15, 20 ain't beating Rico. I'm just going to throw it out there. But anyway, it's not for me to speculate on that. You know what I mean? But there's some.
You weren't sure. This is Rico's agent, Rhys Weston over here.
Yeah, it's content opportunity there, Stu. No, listen. I think he's shown what a versatile player he is. Having space to attack. Again, he celebrates tackles like he does goals. You know, it's a really great clip of him tackling Will Zaha away at Palace. You know, it means so much to him. And look, he's got the ability to adapt. And I think Marcus, again, in a previous show, you said about versatility and players having the ability to move into different areas. You know, we've got a lot of players that have done that this season, and Chris is a prime example of that. You know, be in the right side of a three, right back, playing in a partnership in the middle. But he's got so much to offer and still a lot more to give, I think. So he's a great prospect. And again, you talk about pressure. You know, our record signing, £13.5 million he came for in the summer. You can't forget that aspect as well, and the way he's dealt with it. So he's had a great year.
Talking about prospects, it's brilliant to see Nathan Young-Coombs coming on, wasn't it? So I've thrown a question at you just as you got down. Marcus, it was great to see Nathan.
I was very quick to down it. It was fine. That little sip.
Right, Marcus.
It was funny because I spoke to him last week before the game about just being prepared for your moment. If it does come, I didn't know it was going to come, and it did happen. And he was absolutely buzzing for that opportunity to get on. And he said he was calm, he was relaxed, and then it kind of hit him afterwards of like the impact that it's made. You know, not just to him but to his family. And I said to him, I've never heard a debut have such a reception like that ever. So it shows that the fans totally get him. They love him already. And I said, hey, that is currency for you going forward. Is that the fans are with you.
Obviously, his agent as well.
Got loads of Rico's agent, Nathan's agent, Natalie.
Listen out here.
Natalie, who's your client?
Not got anyone, sadly.
Marcus kind of alluded to there about the fans feeling, and Natalie, now that we don't have the youth system that kind of Marcus has come through previously, when we do see a B team player go into the first team, do you get that feeling that you had when it was the likes of Marcus, obviously, and other people like, I'm going to say him, Carly Osborne, I guess.
Did he play, did he?
Oh, apparently. Apparently.
He just does his show, no? That's what he does. No, absolutely, of course you do, because I know what you're saying. You know, the academy you felt was a proper nurturing ground. But the B team is there for a reason. It is still to bring players through, and so I think we still can be proud of anyone that does play for the first team, and we should be proud. And you're absolutely right. That reception was brilliant. I was there cheering because I was so excited to see him because, you know, not necessarily everybody has seen him in the B team, but you're aware of what he's done for the B team. I mean, he's been scoring goals for fun, and you just want players to be given an opportunity to shine, hopefully. And you look at some of the B team players who've already stepped up, and most of them have actually gone on and are having blossoming careers with us, or if not, they've gone elsewhere. But you know, there's it's just always a nice feeling, isn't it, to see someone get that opportunity within our team, and hopefully we'll see more of him.
But it does also epitomise the hopes and dreams of a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So when you see people, you know, making that transition from B team into the first team, and not just in the Premier League, and that's the big difference now, is that pathway to progression is a lot more tricky, isn't it? You know, you know, in the Championship, you know, when you're playing more games, there's more opportunity to blood young talent potentially. But to actually make your debut in the Premier League, it's massive, and I think that's why the reception was so vociferous, was because I think people get it, people understand the pathway is so challenging now for young players, and to see someone come on and make their debut was incredible.
Yeah. And look, who knows, we might see him again at Everton on Sunday. Marcus, going into this game, obviously there's a lot at stake for Everton still. The recent games at Goodison Park, the atmosphere has looked lively. I know you've played in some lively atmospheres. If you could speak to the squad, what would you say to them going into this one? Because look, I know that we haven't got anything at stake, but we'll still want to win it, and we still want to finish as high up as possible. Are you expecting this to be as hostile an atmosphere as we've played this year, and what would you say to the lads?
My advice would be to try and be comfortable being in an uncomfortable atmosphere.
How do you do that?
It's going to be hostile. Well, we're in great form, so we can relax. We know we're safe. We can just play freely and try and upset their sort of ambitions of trying to stay up. I played in the game many years ago where, you know, the Everton fans tried to put off my team, Wimbledon at the time, and they came to our hotel and set the bus on fire.
What?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So,
Allegedly.
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 I wasn't expecting that.
They lit off some fireworks. They rang all our roofs.
Wow.
That's our best life.
It was intense. So they tried their very best.
What was it like in the ground then? If that's before you've gone in.
It was chaos, but we went in there with good form. We was confident.
But did that rile you up? Were you like? Because I said, why are you winding up Wimbledon? Like,
it's the wrong crew to wind up. But we ended up losing the match anyway.
All right, so it worked.
So it kind of worked.
They had to walk from the bloody hotel, didn't they?
The thing is, the boys are going into this match with such good form, a lot of positives going into it, and just got to embrace it as well. Because this is the level that we're at. We have to go into these environments under a lot of pressure, and it's about controlling those moments as well.
The pressure is on Everton.
That's all it is.
They've got to handle it more than anyone because it's all on them. They obviously have picked up a good couple of results recently, but I expected them to beat Watford, and they didn't beat Watford. So now the pressure is back on them because they've got to pull themselves further clear. As much as destiny is in their own hands, at least they know that. But the pressure is very much on Everton.
Rhys, there'll be a few players anyway in that squad that will love that environment, won't they? I mean, there's one that's very obvious. So I imagine Ivan Toney will thrive in that environment and will relish the challenge of silencing that crowd. Before we do go, because Jamie's going to wrap me up in a bit, he's just nodding, didn't even need to show me the clock. Any games where anyone set lights for any of your stuff before you played them?
Allegedly.
Do you know what? It's actually nice to contribute to these questions because normally I'm like, no, nothing like that. Stu, no. So when we being Cardiff played in the playoff final against our local rivals down the road at Loftus Road, the Cardiff fans set the fire alarm off in the QPR hotel at 4 a.m. in the morning as a way of putting them off their preparation. And as fate would have it, we actually got promoted. Andy Campbell, extra time. Yeah. The rest is history. So I mean, it's not quite as violent as setting the bus on fire. No one was harmed in the making of that movie, but still worked in our favour. So it's a slightly benign story, but I liked it. Thanks, mate.
I don't know if at this point do I have to say don't set fire to anything.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Don't tamper with fire alarms.
Don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It is obvious, but I have to say it. Jamie's telling me to say it. Just don't do stupid stuff. Anyway, before we go, we've got a competition. What are you laughing? Hey, more of this at the awards night. Can't wait for that, can you? Right, before we go, is of course the UEFA Women's Euros this summer, and we've got games at our stadium, at the Brentford Community Stadium, and we're giving away 2 tickets. You can find out more about that down below, but the competition question is, we may have mentioned them today already, who is the Brentford Women's first team head coach? Is it Marcus Gayle? Yeah. Is it Natalie Sawyer? Or is it Carly Osborne? Make sure you go online and find out all the details are below and how you can enter and win those tickets. For now, I had a really good time, so I don't know.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.